President Emmanuel Macron says he wants to see a powerful Europe with its hands on the rails of its own future, as he plans to make cooperation a central theme of France's presidency of the EU when it takes over in January. Macron focused on the issues of migration, defence, stability and peace within the bloc as he laid out France's priorities. It'll be France's 13th time holding this position since the 1950s.
I'd say we need to move on from being a Europe of interior cooperation over our borders to a Europe that is a powerhouse in the world, fully sovereign, free in its choices and the master of its destiny. And that's the objective we need to pursue.
Well, for more on this, let's cross over to our correspondent, Effie Costa in Brussels. Effie, President Macron has laid out several areas where he hopes to make headway: migration, defence and stability within the bloc. So how does he plan to tackle these?
Yes, Ru. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, just laid out his plans, and the journalist just said that these are not plans for the next 6 months, but for the next 10 years, as he actually, his priorities is about everything. He spoke, of course, at the beginning about the protection of the borders, of European borders, and he even suggested a body similar to Eurogroup for the review of Schengen, and of course for reviewing and updating the rules of Schengen, which is something very important for the bloc, especially now under the pressure that it gets from Belarus and from the weaponizing of migrants. Of course, his motto and the motto of the French presidency is recovery, power and belonging. And of course, when he speaks about power, he wants to push for the defense union. It's not a secret that Emmanuel Macron and France in general wants this defense union for years. And now he finds that it's the momentum in order to push and influence his colleagues in Europe to move forward and get more independent and sovereign, as he described it. Of course, the resistance is there. The resistance is there for everything, actually. And it's quite interesting to see how he will tackle these issues that are unresolved since years. And of course, he spoke about recovery. And there, he said something very interesting. He will hold a special summit in March to present his new growth model for Europe after the pandemic, and that he wants to focus more on quality work and, of course, on the EU and EU-wide minimum wage. Of course, 2022 is the year that the EU member states will focus and debate how to really come back to the fiscal rules and how to reduce the increased debt that it was increased, of course, because of the pandemic. And of course, we know and it is expected that the old division between the South and the frugal North will be revived. And there, of course, it's a big and difficult task for Macron to get through it.
Well, another difficult task for Macron is going to be the tough presidential campaign that he will face at home when France takes the reins in the EU. Do you think the speculation is that he will be able to achieve his aims?
Actually, the French president has faced criticism both in the EU capitals and at home because he didn't postpone the EU presidency, which will coincide with the presidential elections in April. Of course, he didn't officially submit his candidacy, but it's very much expected that he will run for a president. And of course, what people and experts say that he wants to use. He is pro-European and he wants to use the presidency as a platform in order to campaign his ideas. It's quite tricky because the EU decision-making process is quite complicated. It needs unanimity, it needs consensus, and he may not have positive and enough results before April.